Most men believe attraction is built through effort. More messages, more compliments, more explaining, more proving. And that belief is exactly why they lose. Because effort doesn't create obsession, presence does, and absence decides who holds power. Centuries ago, Machiavelli understood something most modern men refuse to face. People are not moved by kindness alone, they are moved by consequence. This video isn't about tricks, it's not about manipulation, and it's definitely not about chasing women. It's about psychological gravity, the invisible force that pulls people toward those who don't need approval to exist. You're about to learn 9 psychological frameworks inspired by Machiavellian thinking that explain why the man who gives less often receives more, and why the man who can walk away becomes unforgettable. Once you understand this, you'll never play attraction like an average man again. 1. Why respect always comes before love. Most men think love creates respect. Reality works the opposite way. When love is given freely, constantly, without resistance, it loses weight. It becomes expected. And what's expected is ignored. Respect, on the other hand, is born from limits. A man with limits doesn't explain himself endlessly. He doesn't argue when disrespected. He doesn't negotiate his standards. He removes himself. That removal is not emotional. It's not dramatic. It's clean. And that's where power begins. Because the moment a woman realizes that access to you is conditional, not guaranteed, her emotional posture changes. She becomes attentive. She becomes aware. She becomes careful. Not because she fears you, but because she fears losing what she can't control. That's not cruelty, that's consequence. 2. The power of emotional distance. Men are taught to close distance fast, share feelings, explain intentions, define the relationship. But attraction doesn't grow in clarity, it grows in tension. When you rush to be understood, you remove mystery. When you explain your pain, you remove leverage. When you chase resolution, you signal dependence. A grounded man doesn't rush emotional access. He allows connection, but not possession. He lets her feel him without fully owning him. That emotional distance creates imagination, and imagination is where obsession lives. People don't obsess over what they fully understand. They obsess over what feels slightly out of reach. 3. Why silence is stronger than arguments. Most men respond emotionally when tested. They defend themselves, they justify their actions, they try to win understanding. But explanations don't create authority, they dilute it. Silence, used correctly, communicates one thing very clearly. I don't need to convince you. When a boundary is crossed, the strongest response isn't anger, it's withdrawal. No speeches, no ultimatums, no emotional breakdown, just distance. And that distance forces reflection. Now she's not reacting to your words, she's reacting to your absence, and absence always speaks louder. 4. Image is more powerful than truth. Here's something uncomfortable but real. People don't respond to who you are, they respond to how you feel. You can be loyal, intelligent, honest, and deeply principled, but if your presence feels uncertain, needy, or reactive, none of that matters. Attraction begins before logic. It begins with posture, tone, pace, stillness. A man who controls his reactions controls perception, and perception decides everything. This isn't about pretending, it's about self-command. You don't reveal everything, you don't overshare, you don't perform vulnerability to gain closeness. You allow people to earn access. That restraint signals value without saying a word. 6. Strength without intelligence is noise. There are men who act dominant, loud, forceful, confrontational, and there are men who act clever, smooth, calm, endlessly agreeable. Neither holds power alone. Real influence comes from balance, strength paired with restraint, intelligence paired with firmness. You don't react to emotional bait. You don't explode under pressure. You don't fold to keep peace. You wait, you observe, you respond only when it matters. That unpredictability creates tension, and tension keeps attention locked. 7. Creating internal conflict without confrontation. Most men try to win arguments. Strong men plant questions. When you directly oppose someone's beliefs, they defend. When you gently challenge them without pressure, they think. A calm sentence, a neutral observation, then silence. That silence forces her mind to continue the conversation without you. Now the conflict isn't between you and her, it's inside her. And internal conflict is far more powerful than persuasion. Because now you're no longer trying to convince, you're letting curiosity do the work. 8. Reward slowly, remove quickly. One of the most effective psychological principles is timing. When boundaries are crossed, consequences should be immediate and clean. No warnings, no lectures, just removal. But when respect is shown, reward comes gradually, not in floods, not in constant reassurance. Small signals, earned warmth. This trains emotional awareness. She learns that closeness is possible but not guaranteed. And uncertainty sustains desire. Keely, predict. 9. Power through absence. Availability creates familiarity. Familiarity creates predictability. Predictability creates indifference. Absence breaks that cycle. Not ghosting, not punishment, strategic withdrawal when value is ignored. And when you return, calm, unchanged, unbothered, the dynamic resets. Now she knows something important. You can leave and you'll survive just fine. That knowledge changes everything. Because people invest more when loss feels real. Be the turning point, not the chapter. Women don't remember every man they date. They remember the man who changed how they see themselves. The one who didn't chase, the one who didn't collapse, the one who walked away when it mattered. Not cruel, not cold, just solid. If you become that man, you don't need to demand attention. It comes looking for you. Final words. This isn't about domination. It's about self-respect expressed through behavior. You're not here to entertain. You're not here to convince. You're not here to beg. You're here to build presence so strong that silence does the work for you. If something in this shifted your perspective, not emotionally, but internally, then you're already changing the game. Comment "control" if this message landed, and subscribe because what comes next isn't about winning people, it's about becoming the man no one can ignore.